So my name is Janice McCormick, and I'm originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Born and raised there till I was about 15. Then we moved to PEI, and I just stayed. So I was raised Catholic, and always went to the Catholic Church. And in 1990, I think it was, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And I went through all these tests, and the doctor said, okay, well, we figured it out. You have ileitis. And I'm like, what is that? I never heard of it. And he said, it's a bowel disease. So I said, am I going to die from it? And he said, he didn't really say no, but he didn't really say yes either. So I had a lot of pain, so he put me on prednisone, I think it was, for probably a year or so. And then that wasn't really working that well, so they decided that I would have to have a bowel resection. So I had that. It was the worst thing I ever had. And it was a good 6 weeks recovery just from that. And so after I had the surgery, I was actually a little bit worse with symptoms and stuff. So he put me on these pills, and he told me that I would have to take them like for the rest of my life. So I took them, and I'm not great for taking pills, so I took them for, probably 6 months, and when the symptoms got a little better, I thought, well, I'll just try not to take these anymore. So I tried to stop taking them, and that didn't work. So I decided, okay, great, I'm going to have to take these for the rest of my life. So things were going along, and life was, not easy being a single mother and stuff. So one day, my parents were over from Nova Scotia, and someone asked her if she wanted to go to a prayer meeting. And she asked me if I wanted to go, and I said, no, why would I want to do that? And she said, well, you could get prayed for. And I said, what would I get prayed for? She said, well, inner peace. And I thought, that's probably one thing I could use right now. I said, well, I don't know if I want to go. I'll go, my sister goes. So we went to, it was in someone's house, and so we went there, and the place was full of people. They were sitting up the stairs and all in the living room, and the place was basically packed. So this pastor from Nova Scotia was there, and he was reading from the Bible, scriptures, and he said, what caught my ear was, he said, if you died tonight, do you think you'd go to heaven? He was just saying that, like, to everyone in general. And I thought, yeah, I think so. I'll go to church and whatever. And then he said, well, but if you died in a car accident on your way home, are you 100% sure that you would go to heaven? And I thought, no, I can't really say that. So when he talked about Jesus and how if you believe in your heart that he was raised from the dead and died and raised from the dead, and for us, that if you believe it in your heart and confess it, that you would be saved and you would go to heaven. So I thought that was a good deal. So I said that, and I believed it because I went to church all my life, and that was great. So we went home, and then I think it was exactly a week later. My mother said her friend of hers was having another prayer meeting in her little Catholic church over in Mermaid, and she wanted her to go. There was people coming from Halifax, I think. And I said, well, if you want to go, I'll drive you, because she wasn't driving. And she said, okay, we'll go. And then a half hour later, she said, no, I don't think I'll go. And then half hour after that, she said, yeah, maybe we'll go. So I said, okay, I'll drive you. So I drove her over, and it was in a little Catholic church in Mermaid, and we sat in the very back row. It's my favorite spot. And they had a couple speakers there, and this one lady got up, and she was a really tall lady. And she got up and she said her name was Janice. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good. My name is Janice. And she went on to say that she had Crohn's disease. And I looked at my mother and I'm like, really? Like, what's the chance of this? And she also went on to say that someone came to her in the hospital and prayed for her because she was about to have a major surgery, and that God had healed her. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good. So they decided after everyone spoke that they would, if anybody wanted prayer, that they would have people come up. And my mother almost threw me out of the seat. Go, go. And I said, well, what am I going to go up for? Well, what difference? Just go. So I went up and I thought, I was standing in a different line for somebody else, the pastor that was there the week before. And I thought, well, I'll go with him because I kind of know him, not really, but I've been to him. So he was taking a long time with this other person with their knee. And then I looked over and this Janice was standing there and she was looking at me and she's like, do you want to come over here? So I thought, okay. So I went over and I thought, well, let's see what she says when I say, my name is Janice and I have Crohn's disease. So she said, hi, how are you? And I said, great. And I said, she said, what's your name? And I said, my name is Janice and I have Crohn's disease. But when I looked at her, she had tears in her eyes and I thought, well, that's not the response I was looking for. So she said, well, I used to have Crohn's disease and someone prayed for me. Would you like us to pray for you? It was her and her husband. And I said, okay, sure. I still wasn't expecting anything. And I didn't even go there to get prayer. So I went up and she prayed for me and that was great. And so we went back home that evening and we were sitting at the table and we were discussing everything, and I said, wow, that's unreal. And I said, Mom, I said, if I'm healed, then I shouldn't have to take these pills anymore. And she said, well, maybe not. And I thought, well, I'm not going to take them. I don't advise people to do that, but that's just what I thought at the time. So I didn't take them. And I think it was a month later, and I still didn't take them. So I called the doctor, and I went back, and I seen him, and I told him the whole story, and he said, well, it's great. Whatever works. Keep it up. And that was May 18th, 1994, and I have never taken a pill again since. And they told me I would have to have another bowel resection within 10 years. So it's been over 25 years, and I haven't had one. So I'm pretty happy about that. That's basically the story. So the only other thing I'm thinking is when I said that I went up to see the reaction on her face when I said, my name is Janice and I have Crohn's disease, and she didn't have the reaction I was thinking. And the reason was, I think I seen her 2 months later or so, and I thought, I'm going to go up and speak to her. So I did, and I said, do you remember me? And she goes, oh, yes, I remember you. And I said, that night, I said, when I said to you, my name is Janice, I didn't think you were going to give that reaction or that you had tears in your eyes. And she said, I'll tell you that for a week we were thinking we had to go to PEI. Her husband said, yeah, I agree. I just feel like we need to go to PEI. So when I went up to her and I said, my name is Janice and I have Crohn's disease, she said the Lord spoke to her and said, this is why I sent you. So then I had the tears in my eyes because I thought, wow, God is so good. He would send somebody from Nova Scotia over here just for me.